Have you ever felt that reality slips through the cracks of the obvious? Small moments that defy logic, coincidences so precise they seem to whisper a hidden meaning? What if I told you that, beyond the veil of everyday life, another version of you, in a parallel existence, is trying to communicate across the invisible boundaries that separate worlds? Think about the déjà vu that make you pause, the dreams that leave echoes upon waking, the synchronicities that repeat like riddles waiting to be deciphered. What if they weren't mere chance, but traces of a reality that brushes against yours imperceptibly? Science and metaphysics have long speculated about the existence of multiple versions of ourselves, living distinct possibilities in overlapping layers of the multiverse. But what if those boundaries were thinner than we imagine? Today, we'll dive into the subtle and unsettling signs that your parallel self might be trying to send you a message. What we call reality might just be a fragmented reflection of something far greater. Science and metaphysics converge on the same unsettling point. What if the world we know is just one among many? The idea of parallel universes suggests that our existence might unfold into hidden dimensions, independent worlds where events, choices, and destinies follow different paths. Each universe operates under its own rules, but may share structural similarities with ours, creating alternate versions of what we call life. The multiverse theory takes this hypothesis even further. It proposes that an infinite number of realities intertwine, each representing different possibilities for every decision made. With every choice, an untraveled path, an unspoken word, a moment that could have been different, a new version of ourselves awakens in another layer of the multiverse, charting its own journey. If this theory holds true, then there are countless versions of you living diverse fates. In one universe, perhaps you chose a different love. In another, you might have pursued a dream you abandoned. What if these realities weren't completely isolated? What if there were breaches through which small messages could pass? Phenomena like déjà vu, synchronicities, and vivid dreams might be echoes of these parallel existences, fragments of other versions of yourself trying to reach your consciousness. The multiverse theory challenges our understanding of the real and the imaginary, suggesting that every choice not only shapes the present, but gives rise to new worlds. And what if, for a fleeting moment, one of those worlds tried to speak to you? Modern science has already revealed that the universe isn't as solid and predictable as we once believed. In the subatomic world, the laws of traditional physics unravel into paradoxes and unfathomable possibilities. One of the most enigmatic and revolutionary phenomena in this field is quantum entanglement. In quantum mechanics, entanglement occurs when two particles become so intertwined that any change in the state of one instantly affects the other, no matter the distance between them. This means that if a particle is manipulated on Earth, its counterpart could react in the same instant, even if it's on the other side of the galaxy. Einstein called this phenomenon spooky action at a distance, because it defies classical notions of space and time. This instantaneous connection suggests that information might transcend known physical limits, traveling in ways we don't yet fully understand. But what if this principle didn't apply only to subatomic particles? If consciousness itself were subject to this kind of connection, could it be possible that different versions of ourselves, scattered across the multiverse, are interlinked? If particles can connect across immeasurable distances, this idea might extend to consciousness. Perhaps our mind, like a vibrational network, is constantly resonating with other versions of ourselves, allowing fleeting moments of communication between parallel dimensions. Could déjà vu be a glimpse of a memory from another self living a slightly different reality? Could vivid dreams be messages from a parallel universe where different choices shaped an alternate life? Physics doesn't yet have all the answers, but what was once mere speculation now finds support in quantum theories. If the universe's fundamental laws allow for the interconnection of particles across impossible scales, perhaps the boundaries between realities aren't as rigid as we imagine. String theory is one of the most intriguing attempts in modern physics to unify all the forces of the universe into a single framework. Unlike traditional views that see the world as composed of point-like particles, this theory suggests that everything is made of tiny, vibrating strings. These strings don't just form matter, they determine its properties based on the frequency of their vibration. And here's the critical point. For this theory to work mathematically, the universe can't have just the three spatial dimensions we know: height, width, and depth, but up to 11 dimensions, including realities that may lie beyond our perception. If these additional dimensions truly exist, they could be the channels through which different versions of ourselves intersect. Just as sound waves can travel through different mediums without us seeing them, perhaps our thoughts, emotions, and consciousness are also vibrations capable of resonating between parallel universes. In the realm of metaphysics, it's been believed for millennia that consciousness isn't bound by space-time. From ancient spiritual traditions to modern studies on out-of-body experiences, there are hints that the mind might connect to realities beyond the material. Imagine your mind as a radio. What we call reality might just be the station we're tuned into at the moment. But what if, for a brief instance, we could pick up signals from other frequencies? This concept could explain experiences like déjà vu, which might be an echo of an alternate version of you experiencing a similar moment. Extremely vivid dreams could be fragments of another self's life. Inexplicable synchronicities might be events carefully aligned by energies operating beyond our understanding. The fusion of string theory with metaphysical principles suggests that communication between realities might not be just a fantasy, but a phenomenon we're only beginning to grasp. If every thought and emotion has a frequency, then at certain moments, our vibrations might cross the barriers of space-time, allowing different versions of ourselves to connect, even if only for brief and mysterious instants. The idea of parallel universes suggests that there are multiple versions of you living different life paths simultaneously. If these parallel selves exist, it's possible that, at certain moments, their experiences align and even attempt to communicate in subtle ways. Some of these messages might manifest through synchronicities, recurring patterns that catch your attention and seem to carry deep meaning. Seeing repeated number sequences, like 1111, 333, or 777, might be more than coincidence. Many believe these numbers are coded messages from the universe or points of resonance between different versions of yourself. In some metaphysical traditions, these are called angel numbers and are linked to various spiritual meanings. The number 1111, a sign of awakening and alignment with your deepest essence, might indicate that you and a parallel self are experiencing a significant decision or change at the same time. The number 333 symbolizes creativity, growth, and balance. It could suggest that your parallel self is undergoing a period of creative transformation and that energy is manifesting in your reality. The number 777, associated with intuition and connection to higher dimensions, might be a call to deepen your awareness and pay closer attention to the subtle signs around you if you see it often. The theory behind this is that your parallel selves might vibrate at similar frequencies at certain moments, creating points of contact that manifest as recurring numbers. When you notice these patterns, you might be picking up on an alignment between dimensions. The multiverse theory suggests that different versions of you live out different choices. However, some emotional, spiritual, or psychological experiences might transcend the boundaries between these realities. This could explain phenomena like déjà vu. The feeling that you've lived a moment before might be an echo of an experience your parallel self has already had. Lucid or vivid dreams. If you frequently dream of a different life, it might be a window into another version of yourself. Unexplained premonitions, sudden feelings that something is about to happen, could be messages from a parallel self who has already lived through that situation. These signs might not be direct answers, but they act as cosmic breadcrumbs, guiding your consciousness toward something important. By paying attention to these patterns, you might start to notice when your experience resonates with that of a parallel self, and use that connection to make decisions more aligned with your true path. Synchronicities are recurring patterns of events that defy the logic of chance and seem laden with meaning. In the context of parallel realities, these coincidences might be signs that you and your alternate self are experiencing similar moments, creating echoes between dimensions. Imagine that, over a few days, you keep hearing an unusual name in strangers' conversations, in a song, and even on a billboard. At first glance, it might seem like a coincidence, but what if it's more than that? If your parallel self is meeting someone crucial with that name, the energy of that event might be leaking into your reality, drawing your attention to an impending encounter. It could be someone who will change your life, or a name tied to an event that will have a significant impact on your path. Seeing butterflies repeatedly, in your yard, on a book cover, or on someone's accessory, might not just be a visual curiosity, but a sign of resonance between realities. Butterflies symbolize metamorphosis. If you notice this symbol frequently, it might indicate that your parallel self is undergoing a major transformation. This sign could be emerging to warn you that you, too, are about to face profound changes and should stay alert to upcoming events. Suppose you miss the bus twice in the same week, and on both occasions, you unexpectedly run into an old friend. It could be chance, but what if, in a parallel universe, your alternate self is also reconnecting with that same person in a completely different way? This event might be happening because that reunion holds significance for both realities. Perhaps that friend has an important role to play in your present, just as they do in your parallel self's life. Synchronicity might be a way of signaling that this bond needs to be rekindled for the next step in your personal growth. Synchronicities don't deliver straightforward answers, but they serve as alerts from the universe that something deserves your attention. When repetitive and striking events occur, reflect on what they might be trying to show you. Your parallel self could be attempting to guide you toward a path more aligned with your greater purpose. By recognizing these coincidences as potential interdimensional messages, you can open your perception to the hidden opportunities within the flow of life, and perhaps even begin to notice when different versions of yourself are crossing between realities. Echoes from other realities can manifest in subtle yet powerful ways. If you start noticing certain patterns, repeated advice, vivid dreams, or strong intuitions, it might be a hint that your parallel self is trying to communicate. Have you ever heard the same advice from different people at unexpected moments? Maybe a friend tells you to trust your instincts, and soon after you read that same phrase in a book. Later, a stranger mentions something similar in a random conversation. These repetitions might be more than mere coincidences. They could indicate that an important message is trying to cross dimensional barriers, echoing from a parallel self who has faced or is facing a situation similar to yours. Paying attention to these signs can help you make more conscious decisions aligned with what truly matters. Think of a recurring dream or an idea that pops into your mind for no apparent reason, but with an intensity you can't ignore. These might be whispers from another you, living a reality where that idea or experience is central. The key is to listen to these signs without judgment, letting them guide you intuitively. Intuition, often underestimated, might be the channel through which these messages reach us. It acts as a bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, between this reality and other possible ones. Strengthening this connection takes practice, observing the patterns around you, recording your dreams, and reflecting on coincidences that seem laden with meaning. By doing this, you begin to tune your mind to pick up the echoes of your parallel selves, turning what might just be a hunch into a tool for self-awareness and guidance. The idea that different versions of you might communicate can seem abstract, but observing the signs and following them with curiosity can yield valuable discoveries. By acknowledging that your consciousness might be echoing experiences from an alternate self, you open yourself to a more expansive view of who you truly are. Every thought, memory, or impulse could be an invitation to explore uncharted aspects of yourself. Instead of seeing your life as a single straight line, try embracing the complexity of your existence and welcoming the signs that appear along the way. They might lead you exactly where you need to be. Since ancient times, dreams have fascinated humanity. Many cultures see them as windows to the soul, messages from the unconscious, or even glimpses of the divine. But what if they're more than that? What if, beyond revealing deep aspects of the psyche, dreams also serve as portals to alternate realities, allowing us to access moments and experiences lived by our parallel selves? Many people have had dreams where they live an entirely different life. Perhaps you've dreamed of being in an unfamiliar place, working in a profession you never pursued, or even possessing skills you've never developed in waking life. These dreams might not just be products of imagination, but reflections of experiences another you is living in a parallel universe. Think of a dream where you're a famous musician, a fearless explorer, or a renowned scientist. These scenarios might be revealing choices your alternate selves made, showing the paths they followed. Are they just fantasies? Or could your mind be capturing fragments of realities coexisting with yours? the subconscious can access information beyond our everyday perception. It might act as a conduit between different versions of reality, allowing sensations, emotions, and even memories from your parallel selves to seep into your dreams. In the waking state, we're conditioned by the rules of our physical world and the linearity of time. But when dreaming, those limitations vanish. The mind becomes more fluid, and the barriers between realities might weaken, enabling interdimensional experiences. Dreams often reflect alternate versions of ourselves, exploring the consequences of choices different from the ones we made. If you repeatedly dream of a person from your past, or a place you've never visited, it could be a sign that, in some other universe, a version of you is exploring those connections and experiences. For example, dreaming of returning to childhood might suggest that a parallel self is reliving or altering events from that phase of life. Dreaming of pursuing a different career could mean that another you is experiencing the outcomes of that choice. Reuniting with a lost love in a dream might reveal that, in a parallel reality, that relationship never ended. These dreams can offer profound insights, helping us reflect on what we truly value and what opportunities we might still pursue in this reality. Sometimes, we dream of challenges or difficulties that seem nonsensical in our waking life. But what if those conflicts are tied to battles our parallel selves are facing? If, in your dreams, you find yourself dealing with intense conflicts, fleeing from something unknown, or confronting old fears, it might reflect the struggles of an alternate self. These dreams could be urging you to address unresolved issues in your own life. Dreams often use metaphors and symbols to convey messages. If elements like mirrors, doors, keys, or roads appear repeatedly, it might be a sign that you're indeed exploring other versions of your existence. Keys suggest access to new knowledge or possibilities. Doors represent transitions between realities. Mirrors symbolize connections between different versions of yourself. Roads and crossroads imply choices and forks between multiple destinies. If you have recurring dreams with these elements, try analyzing them from the perspective that they might be guiding you toward a greater understanding of your journey across multiple realities. The idea that our dreams are merely mental constructs doesn't fully explain the richness of detail, the deep emotions, and the recurrence of certain scenarios that many experience. If we consider the possibility of parallel realities, our dreams might be portals to other versions of ourselves, allowing us to learn from their experiences and bring those insights into our own lives. Are your dreams trying to tell you something? Perhaps the answer awaits the next time you close your eyes. Certain moments in our lives seem to defy all logic. Small glitches, objects that shift places without explanation, events that unfold differently from how we remember them. All these might be more than simple memory lapses. For some, these anomalies suggest that parallel dimensions might be intersecting, creating points of overlap between different versions of our realities. Glitches in reality can manifest in unexpected ways. You might notice an object that's always been in a specific spot suddenly appear somewhere else, with no one having moved it. You might hear a conversation only to later discover that others recall it entirely differently. Even certain encounters with strangers might carry an odd familiarity, as if you've known them from some other moment or reality. These occurrences, though subtle, could hint at influences beyond our everyday perception. Our concept of time, often seen as fixed and linear, might be more flexible than we think. There are accounts of people experiencing days that seem to stretch inexplicably, or, conversely, pass in the blink of an eye with little accomplished. Sensations of déjà vu, where we're certain we're reliving a moment, might be signs that parallel versions of ourselves have already experienced it. These temporal fluctuations could represent echoes of experiences lived in alternate realities, briefly interacting with our own timeline. When these reality glitches happen, it might be worth observing them closely. Instead of dismissing them as mere coincidences, it's possible that our parallel selves are trying to communicate something, a warning, advice, or even confirmation that we're on the right path. If an object mysteriously appears in your life, it might carry a hidden meaning tied to an important thought or decision in your journey. Small, seemingly insignificant details might actually be pieces of a larger puzzle, connecting different dimensions of your existence. Moreover, moments of sudden clarity or inspiration could indicate an alignment with choices made by our parallel selves. If you feel a strong intuition about a path to follow, it might be because, in some other reality, a version of you has already made that decision and experienced its outcomes. Likewise, events that seem to fit together almost miraculously could be reflections of this alignment across different realities. These glitches might actually be disguised opportunities. If we pay attention to the signs they offer, we might access knowledge and insights beyond our usual understanding. Rather than fearing these anomalies, we can see them as invitations to explore our existence more deeply, recognizing that there's far more happening around us than our senses can grasp. Imagine noticing that a picture frame, always kept in a specific spot, suddenly appears elsewhere. There's no logical explanation for the change, and no one in the house moved it. This phenomenon might be more than a simple oversight. It could reflect a shift in perspective, or suggest that something in your life needs resolution. Perhaps your parallel self has dealt with a similar issue, and this alteration in your physical surroundings is a subtle way of guiding you in the same direction. Time distortion. You go about your routine as usual, but suddenly realize you've lost an entire hour without explanation. Or, in a more intriguing scenario, feel that events around you are repeating, as if you're caught in a momentary loop. These experiences might be more than mere mental slips. They could indicate moments of convergence between different timelines, where fragments of your parallel self's experience briefly interfere with your perception. Such instances might serve as an invitation to pause and reflect on your choices, aligning yourself with a more positive path another version of you has already taken. Conflicting memories. A group of friends recalls a trip from years ago, but each person remembers entirely different events. One insists they visited a museum, while another is certain they spent the whole day at the beach. These discrepancies might seem like mere memory flaws, but there are accounts of similar experiences that suggest something more. Could these differences be hints that each person lived slightly different versions of the same event in parallel realities? If alternate realities overlap at certain moments, perhaps the human mind, in its attempt to make sense of the world logically, ends up registering different versions of the same story. Glitches in reality, as strange as they may seem at first glance, might hold hidden messages. When viewed through the lens of parallel dimensions, they stop being mere anomalies and become clues about the true nature of existence. Each of these glitches could be a reminder that the universe isn't as rigid as it appears, and that different versions of ourselves might be in constant interaction. Staying attuned to these phenomena might reveal new paths, suggest changes, and offer insights into decisions already made, whether in this reality or another. To tune into the messages from your parallel self, strengthening your intuition through a visualization exercise can be a powerful tool. This method allows you to access deeper layers of the subconscious mind, opening pathways to interactions with other versions of yourself. 1. Find a quiet space. Choose a place where you can sit in silence without interruptions for a few minutes. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and allow yourself to relax completely. 2. Focus on your breathing. Begin inhaling and exhaling slowly and deeply. Feel the air moving in and out, helping to calm your mind and prepare you for the experience. Each breath should take you into a deeper state of relaxation. 3. Visualize your parallel self. Imagine yourself standing before an alternate version of you. Observe this other version closely. How they're dressed, their posture, their facial expression. Try to notice the details around them, the environment they're in, and how that reality might differ from yours. 4. Establish an energetic connection. Visualize a bright line of light connecting your third eye, the area between your eyebrows, to the third eye of your parallel self. Feel this energy flowing between you, forming a channel of communication that transcends the reality you know. 5. Ask a question mentally. Pose something to your parallel self that you'd like to know. It could be a specific question like, "What do I need to learn right now?" Or a request for guidance about a challenge you're facing. 6. Observe and trust. Stay silent and pay attention to what comes to your mind. It might be an image, a word, a feeling, or a sudden thought. Don't judge or try to rationalize it right away. Just let the messages flow and note what you feel. 7. Return gently. When you feel you've received the information you need, take a few deep breaths and start bringing your attention back to the present. Open your eyes slowly, feeling grounded and aware of the experience. If you wish, write down the impressions you had to reflect on later. This exercise can be practiced regularly to strengthen your connection with different versions of yourself and interpret the subtle messages your parallel self might be trying to send.